Microsoft PowerPoint comes with a lot of accessibility tools to help your students at all levels. Let's begin by starting a new project and giving it a title. For younger students, or students who aren't sure where to go, they can choose the Designer feature by selecting the magic wand here in the top right. You can see it gives you a lot of options for formats. As I add to my project, it's going to change the different formats that are available. I simply choose what I like, and it updates my slide presentation. Let's add a new slide. For younger students or students who struggle with typing, they can choose the microphone next to the Designer. Here, I have a dictation tool, so I can say whatever I'd like, and PowerPoint will write out the words for me. It even does a pretty good job of updating all of its writing so that my words are spelled correctly and my grammar is intact. You can see that it's not perfect, but it definitely helps. I also have a translation option in the microphone to update where I speak one language and it writes in another. Now I may want to add some things to my slide to make it a bit more accessible for me. Under Insert, I can go to Audio, and as a teacher, I can upload an audio lesson or the recording of a lesson that I wish to add here. Next to the Design tab, I also have a Draw feature. This is available for all students so that they can write or highlight any text that they need in any presentation that's given to them. This is a great way for students to pull out words that are important or to do a close reading in a PowerPoint. Now you can see the annotations right here on the slide. If I go to Slideshow, I have the option to add subtitles. I can always use subtitles, or I can turn them off sometimes, and I can choose whatever language I would like. I also have options for audio settings for what spoken language I want versus what subtitled language. This is very helpful not just for students with hearing issues, but for people who like to make sure that they understand what they're reading. I'm going to put the subtitles at the bottom, and let's take a look. Now, when I start the slideshow, the subtitles arrive. Now, when I present my product, everyone can read what I'm saying. This is great for a universally designed learning, so that everyone can participate in our class learning. Under the same Subtitles tab, I can also change the language that I want to show up under the subtitles. Let's choose Arabic. Now when I present my slideshow, as I begin to speak, the words show up in the language I've selected. So what if you're not sure about the accessibility options? Under Review, there's a tab for Check Accessibility. This will notify you of any instances where you may want to rethink what you're doing to make it more accessible for all people. You can see when I click on the changes, they can give me additional information of how I can make this more accessible for all learners. It will also highlight the area that I'm concerned about. Once I've made all of my changes, I can update some information and then recheck using the recheck button at the top right. So now I'm going to add an image. I went to Insert, Images, let's choose a cat, and I want to update my slide a little bit. I have a title and some information, so let's go to the Design feature and see what it can offer us. When I make changes in my slide, the Design feature will often show up to give me suggestions. I choose what I'd like, and now I've been able to create a very good slide, or for my presentation. I can recheck my accessibility, and you can see that all of my information has been added using my dictation tool. If I wish to leave feedback for students on things they can improve upon, under Review, I can choose New Comment. If I go next door to View, I have the option to view Immersive Reader. This is the next feature that we want to look at. When I select Immersive Reader, you'll see that it pulls away any and all distracting information. When I select Play, it will read the information to me. I also have the option to change the speed with which it's read, or the voice that I want it read in. Once I've made my changes, I have some other options in the top right. I can independently change the text size to make it more visible. I can increase or decrease spacing, or I could choose Comic Sans as my font. This is really helpful for students or people with dyslexia. I also have an option to change the theme colors if that's an issue for me. In the next tab over, I can show syllables to help students sound out the words, or I can highlight individual parts of speech, such as nouns or verbs, and we can discuss what those add to our piece of writing. In the final tab in Immersive Reader, I have an option for line focus, if I'm somebody who needs to read just one line at a time or a few lines at a time. If I turn that off, you can see I also have a picture dictionary. So if I select a word, it will show me a picture of what that word is to help me define it. Finally, there's a translation option. So any presentation that's given to me can be read in my native language. I have the option to translate just one word or an entire paragraph. I simply select what I want and let PowerPoint do the work for me.